Hello, listeners, and welcome to part 2 in this mini-series on the Twin Flames universe. To find out more about International Cult Awareness Month, you can follow the links in the episode description. But for now, here is Cara. You pay £111. I'm guessing 111, that number is not random. It has some type of significance or something with the kind of spiritualist aspect.
Yeah, I mean, like if you look up angel numbers, like 111 could tell you that new beginnings with a person. I mean, I see number sequences all the time. Like I'll see my dad's birthday every day. I'll see, even though he's deceased. So, I mean, I can even see when you really think about things, they really can manifest. I believe that because that's happened to me so many times. Like I needed a new phone and a new phone just comes in the mail randomly. Or I lost my watch or I needed money, the money just shows up. But just besides that, yeah, just the 111, I think it was just like new beginnings. And I thought I was like in the cult when it was like really starting to spread like wildfire. I mean, I haven't been in it like some people have, like Keely, like she's gone to the church they have in Michigan and things like that. So I knew there were meetings secretly, like in New York City one time, and I saw pictures, and so they'll kind of find like secret locations to go. But I guess now they have a church that's all out in the open. I mean, I don't know how big the church is in Michigan, but it must be big enough to be known, and they're doing a documentary about it. So
When you pay for the life coaching sessions and all of the other things that come with that monthly subscription, do you have to put a deposit down, or are you expected to attend a certain amount of sessions, or can you just pay 1 month and then never go back again?
I mean, you want money and then you're not going to show up. Or you want to give your money and then not show up. They're like, hey, thanks, but people might be like, sure, you want to pay me and not show up. No one really said like you have to like show up, but they're very big on like, oh, stop going at each other, just work on your healing and do the mirror exercise. So I mean, it wasn't like I have to be in the sessions. If I'm paying, I probably should attend, but.
Did they have a minimum number of sessions that you were required to attend before you would be considered a coach?
I'm not exactly sure of like, it's just I think you had to pay quite a bit of money to become a life coach. Yes. I think you had to pay, I thought it was like $2,000 or more, something like that. I could be off on the number, but I remember you had to pay quite a bit because I saw a picture of Brianne Price of her with a certificate with Jeff and Shalia, and so I would say a couple grand. Yeah.
I read an article that said the most expensive program that the Twin Flame universe offers is $7,000. So I wonder if that's the Twin Flame Ascension coaching that you mentioned earlier. On their website, twinflamesuniverse.com, it says your ascension coach is the secret to unlocking the full potential of the teachings of union. Having the support of a highly trained professional to guide you to navigate this journey is critical to your success.
Mm. Yeah, I said I wasn't sure about the number. Maybe it went up, like when but actually Brianne Price said she got paid $2,000, I think, for commission. So maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, I think you get commission whenever you get people to sign on. So Jeff would push the life coaches to like really sell the book and really do all this stuff because they need money to pay for their sports car and their big house. Which I think they're renting. Yeah, well, another thing I wanted to mention was the house that they got. I think Jeff and Shalia were trying to have a child, and they were thinking about getting a bunch of some of the people in the group to move in the home to like provide services. So like I think Keely mentioned she does a lot of farming, so Jeff was going to use them for her and her twin flame for farming. But then he kept changing his mind. So Jeff would be like, yes, I want you to come. No, I don't want you to come. So I think they wanted someone to do nanny services. And then they were even mentioning they were afraid that people in the neighborhood would catch on that they have a cult going on in their house. So So they're like, oh no, we can't do it. We don't want to get in trouble. We don't want to lose our fortune, you know. So
How many of these monthly payments do you make before you decide that this is not for you and you're going to go and tell the internet how strange this group is?
like, how long did I pay for before I left? I thought it might have been 3 months. So
And then
yeah.
you go and you speak out against the group, and then you're approached by some of the inner circle who then come to you, convince you to come back in. And how long is it that you're part of the Twin Flames universe the second time around? Up to maybe a year, you said?
Yeah, so it was like 3 months, I think, the first time, and then I think I stayed for like 8, 9, 10 months. So I went back and stayed a little bit longer, and it kind of reminded me of my childhood a little bit of just like, just you want to leave, but then you want to go back. There could be some guilt. Then you thought maybe it's not really that bad, but then it is. So you get a little confused of if it's really that bad. I've had people go off on me in there. Everyone seems very clingy and desperate. And Trump was in office at the time, so I think that might have played into a lot of what's going on in the group. So
When you are in the group and you're wondering, who is my twin flame? Do they just assign someone to you? It's such a strange concept, and it's making me think of the Unification Church, where Sun Myung Moon was just kind of like, you and you are life partners. You and you are life partners. And he just picks up two pictures of random strangers who have probably never met before, pairs them in a mass wedding, and then they're expected to live together forever and have a family of holy children.
yes and no. Like no one said, okay, Kara, that's your twin flame. It was just more like I already thought it, and I just thought it was, and then they just kind of pushed for it. But what I saw with Jeff and Shalia was like, say you're on a dating site and you're talking to multiple people, to just say, oh, it's that Christian guy. Oh, it's so and so. I think it's him. And then they're like, oh my God, I like the person. I don't want to ruin it. What do I do? Oh my God. So then Jeff will kind of like coach the person, like, this is your twin flame, this is how you approach them, this is what you say, this is what you do, kind of thing. And then, but everybody would just think like an ex partner is a twin flame. So like this one lady, she was in the classes that Jeff and Shalia had of like, I think the woman mispronounced Shalia wrong, and Jeff got very offended by that. And then Jeff said, the guy you're with, you need to leave him. You need to kick him out of your house. And then you need to go back to somebody that was from her foreign country. I think she might have been, I can't exactly remember where she's from. It might have been Croatia. But she thought this person that she was with 30 years ago was her twin flame. And she rearranged her life, and turns out that he's married and that he can't get out of his marriage unless he pays like $400,000 to get out. And she was a lawyer, and she was going to try to help him get out, but it's like they were together 30 years ago. It's like maybe it's not going to work now. So, and then she would show, I think she even said she showed up where he lives and showed up where he works. And it's just like, that's kind of
so
crazy.
Strange.
Yeah. And then the guy was like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? And it's just very interesting of like just like she's just like people rearrange their whole life just for a relationship. And it's very unhealthy to do that.
Yeah, that is weird. It's so much like this. It's so much like this really creepy Charlie Brooker dystopian show where people take these tests and it tells them who their perfect match is.
Oh, geez. I mean, talk about same sex. Yeah. I mean, they were, well, it says mirror, and then they did the mirror exercise. So it's very interesting. And they said your twin flame is like your mirror. But in the group, Jeff was talking about doing charts where, like, you go in there, people will tell you if it's your twin flame or your soulmate. Maybe you can have multiple soulmates. So they, so I guess Jeff and Shalia would charge money as well of like coming up with some chart they came up with something where they would tell you like what you're supposed to do for a job. So just kind of like what you said, just almost kind of like a test, but then they're just kind of like, it's not like the Myers-Briggs test where you're trying to determine what your personality is, but I think they just like you pay this money and then they like just tell you. I mean, obviously you're asking questions of like, what am I supposed to do? Who am I supposed to be with? And then they answer it by giving this chart or whatever. And but they did have the same sex thing of like this woman, it was a lesbian couple, and Jeff was saying one of them has to be named a man and change their name and do all this and that. And I think they were pretty, yeah, they push for sex changes. Like you need to change your name.
Homophobic way.
Yeah, like I think a lot of it was they were basing a lot of beliefs on Christian beliefs, and Christian beliefs are kind of somewhat traditional. So it's like there has to be a woman, has to be a man. So it's like, okay, get a sex change your name, do this and that. I mean, it's one thing if you want to and you're planning on it, you can't do it yet. You're saving up money or something like that. That's one thing, but so Jeff and Shalia were getting on this couple. I think it was Anne and Ashley or something like that. So they were saying Anne needed to get sex change, do all this and that, and I think they like said no, and I think Jeff kind of kicked him out of the group. And Jeff's very big on kicking you out of the group and stuff, just over nothing. Like I think he's a total narcissist, probably very immature. So there was that, and then a bunch of people were cutting their hair short to look like a boy, and just I think they didn't want to cut their hair, but they did it, and then they think their twin flame is a woman, or if they're gay, it's a man. So
if you're exceptionally vulnerable and you're going through a really difficult time in your life and you found this community that you've paid a monthly subscription to be a part of, and you have to be very careful about the things that you say and the way that you act, and you have to conform with what the angry kind of overlord is telling you to do, or risk being kicked out of this group that again has become your community and that you've paid to be a part of. That must be a really exhausting and difficult experience for somebody to have. You must be constantly in fear of losing that community, and I'm sure that's exactly the reason why this individual is so quick to just kick people out, to maintain that level of fear within people that follow him.
Right, of course. Yeah, I mean, I kind of grew up with a dad like that. So it was really brought that home of like, well, my parents are kind of like that too, where they just rip the rug out from underneath you just over something. It's very authoritarian. So they, it's their way of operating. You can't say anything. They were very big on that. Like, don't speak out against us. Don't say anything negative. We're very quick to cut you. And it's just like, well, they'll do that anyway, over anything. So it doesn't matter. So yeah, you always have this constant fear and anxiety. And a lot of people would stay up all hours of the night, just so worried about, just getting cut out of this group, and you don't really have family or friends, and you're just kind of in this cult, and just, I was told I was in a cult. I already knew I was, and just like I was just trying to figure out how to get out of it myself. I don't need someone else to do it, because I'm an adult. If I make mistakes, let me make a mistake. It's a pretty big one, but yeah.
That's so tough. If you're somebody that could really benefit from seeking professional medical help as well, and you're placed in this environment, I imagine that has the potential to significantly exacerbate ill mental health. And then you're worrying about potential suicidal ideation, and descents into deep depression and self-harm. Are these themes that you're familiar with in terms of people that have been involved with the Twin Flames universe?
Yeah, I myself, Brienne Price, she went off on me and kind of verbally went at, kind of say verbally abusive. She just kind of yelled at me and just kind of went off, and she seemed a little unstable, and she kind of So my parents would do that. So I feel kind of suicidal when people do that to me. So she told me to call a hotline, and I did. Like she got into my trauma, even though she's not really trained into it, and just kind of dug into something I haven't gone to in a long time. And I did feel suicidal at the time. And then I didn't do anything, but I called a hotline, and they calm you down in crisis. And I never did that before. I just thought you just go to your parents for that. But if they're abusive and not equipped to handle it, you can't really go to them. So my mom's way of handling crisis is just praying, and it's like, no, I need to talk to a mental health professional, and she won't even do that. So, but she has a lot of trauma herself. So it's all the people in the group, a lot of them were angry, hostile, suicidal, poor, rich, but then everyone's very emotional, and like everyone's just very desperate in there, and just people cling to you, and then people started giving money to each other to help everybody out, and some people were just kind of lying about their situation, or they're basically like giving up their life to go with this twin flame, and then they run out of money, it doesn't work out with the person, and they become homeless, or so it was just a mess. And a lot of people would just leave the group. It was just, everyone's just getting so angry. And I think Jeff and this one girl came up to me who's Asian, and I think her name was Stephanie, and that's actually my mom's name. And she was asking me, Jeff was trying to assign her to run the group, and she didn't know if she should do it. So she asked me, and I said, well, it's your choice. I'm not going to say no or yes. It's up to you if you want to do that or not. If it's that hostile, don't do it. But then I think Brianne Price actually became the human resource manager of, like, if there's conflict or issues, she'll handle it. So, and I kind of knew she was going to be assigned that too, which was kind of weird. So as far as that goes with Brianne Price, it's just interesting where he wants a lot of women to do these jobs. So.
The religious aspect that you mentioned before is interesting because, firstly, I imagine if that's the environment that you grew up in with your parents and your mother kind of relying on religion and prayer to deal with conflict and issues in the home, then it might be difficult going into a community when you're older where there are themes and tones of the same sorts of things. There's a 1-star review of the book Twin Flames: Finding Your Ultimate Lover by Jeff Devine. And it says in the book, in the review, the people who wrote the book think that their truth is the only truth. They're not open to what others have to say about the Twin Flames journey. On top of that, this book is talking about religion too much if you're not into that at all. There are other books on twin flames that are more open-minded. So do you recall the religious themes in the book when you read it, or is it something that Jeff would talk about more in the video calls?
It's been a while since I read the book, but I think there was a lot of religious undertones. To go back to my own family, it's not like my mom really prayed. She's Catholic, but then she's doing Christian stuff, and then my dad's Jewish, but then he started to like do cult-like things. Like he wasn't praying or anything like that, but just they were just very disordered. So we'll just get sucked into anything. So like I think I felt suicidal. My mom was like, "Oh, talk to my pastor," and it's just like, I don't know what praying's gonna really do. It's like she was the one that caused a lot of problems for me, and I'm trying to talk to her, and she doesn't really know what to do. So, but yeah, as far as the book and in the classes, I thought it was like a bit of a Christian undertone of like Christianity mixed with spiritual stuff as well. And yeah, because so I think it felt Christian to me because of, I think, Jeff's upbringing. And then the spiritual stuff was more Shalia.
Right.
So,
again,
she
those
was,
two.
yeah, I mean, she was living in Arizona, and there's the vortex out there, so it's very spiritual out there apparently. So.
And you mentioned that there's the business aspect that Jeff's bringing, and then there's the other side,
Psychology,
and then
spiritual stuff, yeah.
and then there's the psychology that Shali is bringing. So again, just kind of blending those experiences and belief systems together is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And the reluctance to accept the LGBTQIA plus community into the Twin Flames universe may come back to some of those religious teachings or Christian overtones, but perhaps it's just the personal beliefs of one or both of the leaders of the Twin Flames universe. It'd be interesting to know. And I wonder if other people have looked into it. I imagine that they have. I know that there's a Vice expose that has come out about the Twin Flames universe, which I'll put in the episode description a link to if anyone would be interested in having a read of that. You've mentioned that there were several different roles that people could have within the Twin Flames universe. So is there like a business hierarchy here of different employment titles that people might have?
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like they were starting to do that where like there was intake with Deanna, then Brianne Price was human resources. I mean that's who people that are higher up are Jeff and Shalia, and then it's the life coaches, then it's the people wanting to be life coaches, and then there's the people that enter. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what it is now, because they have a church and everything like that. So I'm sure they have a whole slew of, employees now, people that they use for whatever. And I mean, I even saw this with another cult. It was a 1970s cult. There was a Netflix series on it of Wild Wild Country. And they, yeah, I mean, they would utilize, like, if you're a lawyer, we'll use you for law stuff. We'll, if you're a farmer, we'll use you for growing our crops, just anything that they can use you for. And again, that's almost kind of like some families where, like, you have some families that, okay, one kid fix cars, I'll use you. One kid could give me money, things like that. So, but Christian Northrup, who is a empathic doctor, she mentioned in her videos about the Waldorf School being a cult and the Wild Wild Country thing being a cult. And the reason why I brought up Wild Wild Country is because they were actually recruiting people from New York to go to Oregon, and they were trying to take over the state. And they would utilize a lot of the people in the group. Like, they even had somebody even shave the legs of the leader. So I'm not sure what the extent of it is now with Jeff and Shalia, but I'm sure they have a lot of slaves.
Well, you've mentioned that they were considering creating an intentional community where people could offer their services, which I interpret as labor trafficking. Work
Right.
these hours, do all of these things, maybe still have to pay for your monthly subscription, or
That's what happened.
£7,000. $7,000 it is for the everything course, according to their website.
Yeah, I mean, as far as, like, sorry to cut you off, the kind of work that I was starting to get into was, so you're paying the monthly subscription, and then they're like, okay, you're going to start helping recruiting. And I was like, oh, I have to do that. I don't really want to do it. So I looked into it. I never went through with it, but I saw everything that's involved, and it was a spreadsheet that had a list of all sorts of groups to try to recruit people from, especially on Facebook mostly. But then some people said they started going into video games to do it as well. I'm not sure what those games were, but as far as what I saw, it was just like a spreadsheet, and then you put your initials next to, like, the forum that you posted something in to advertise, and it's just like, they kind of just throw you into it, and it's like, I'm not doing this. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, what am I going to say? Hey, join the group, or just be like, so then I actually started to get a little convincing with it. I did convince someone in my hometown to go in it, because she had a lot of issues with her family as well, and she kept saying this older man that died was her soulmate and this and that. And I was like, oh, maybe you should go in the group and see if they'll determine if it's your twin flame or not. And she was in, and then she was just like a day. She didn't pay for anything. Well, thank God. But so yeah, I mean, they will make you work, not right away, but sometimes it's right away.
And it is telling that Brienne didn't really give you the hard sell or use any hard recruitment tactics on you or any type of manipulation. You just joined a video call and she was like, "Hey, buy this book," which is,
Yeah,
I imagine.
yeah, I mean, it may be a little bit of manipulation because she's using like her sweet voice and trying to be all nice. And it's just like, whenever I hear a sweet voice, I'm not used to that. I'm used to people being very verbally abusive to me. So it's like, okay, I'll do it. And it's like, wait, I can't really afford it, but I'm doing it. But she sounds so nice. I feel bad if I say no. And then this Chad kid, I gave him $500. And
Gosh.
then he eventually came to my house and slept over.
And I mean, being in a video call with somebody who's directly asking you to do something, I imagine, I always try and say to people before we record these sessions, if I ask you a question that you would rather not answer, tell me and I'll move on to the next question. Because I never want people to feel pressured into answering things. But if you've got somebody like, buy this book, what do you think? Are you going to do it? I imagine that that must be quite that must be, well, it is quite coercive, but it's kind of open and it's not as underhanded, like, oh, I'll give you something for free and then you can buy this book, because I've done something for you, or kind of one of those foot in the door tactics that people use sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's telling that you're then told that you should go out and recruit people, but it's not like you've been trained or coached in how to do that and be successful in
Right,
it. You're just told to go out and do it. And it's kind of, I
right.
imagine, what Brienne was doing as well, just going out and doing, the best that she could to make money for the leaders.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was just like, I mean, I don't mind direct. I like direct, but it's like, um, but I think originally it was just like, yeah, I mean, it's free sessions. It's like, ooh, something free. I mean, that perks you right up, and it's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then it's like, wait, there's this, then there's this, and there's this. And it's like, oh wait, it's not as free as I thought. I mean, the sessions were free, but then,
If you really
um,
want to find out who your twin flame is, then you're going to have to join the monthly subscription.
right, and then, yeah, it's like you gotta pay all this money, then we'll tell you, oh, but then you gotta do this. So then before you know it, it's like you're sucked in, and then who's my twin flame again? It's like, wasn't I here for this originally?
You have gone into this group. Have you met anybody you think might be your twin flame? Have you asked for any kind of idea or guidance from the leaders who might direct you towards your twin flame, or inquired about somebody that you've known in your life before or someone you work with? What's your journey on finding your twin flame?
So I just thought it was my dad's friend, this ex-military guy who actually turned out to be a predator and rapist. Um, of course, he's friends with my dad. So what ended up happening was I just assumed he was. Like, we had a lot in common. We got along pretty well, even though he did assault me, and I kind of like forgot about it. Like, I was really tired and very lethargic and like low iron in my blood. So I really don't think very well when stuff like that happens, and I'll be convinced otherwise. So, yeah, I mean, I just thought it was my twin flame just from what I read and stuff before. And then people just kept kind of asking about him. And as soon as someone said it's my twin flame, I'm backing out. Like, whoa, it's not. I don't know what I'm doing. I need to wake up and get out of this. Um, so as far as like reaching out to people with their twin flame, I mean, I would just kind of listen to what they say of just like how much they have in common. just how long they got along, how well they got along with the person. Like, I just thought if it's a twin flame, you're just like good on all levels. But you could just be very highly compatible with somebody and just things are very smooth and free flowing like that. But I mean, I will mention, I did ask Jeff one time, messaged him, and I said, how does one become what you do? And he said, oh, you're assigned by God. And then it's like, wait, but if our twin flame is assigned by God, then why are you doing it? If it's assigned by God, so God's coming through you to tell us like who your twin flame is. So I would question everything. They don't like that. They hate that because then it means, uh-oh, the jig is up kind of thing.
Did you ever have anybody come to you and say, I think you might be my twin flame?
No. That would be weird if it was, though.
I can
Like,
imagine that'd
wait.
be so strange. Someone coming to you and saying, you're the other half of me. You're the thing that completes me. You're the only thing in the whole world that makes me whole.
I mean, I started to think everybody's my twin flame. I actually started doing that, like just like, oh my God, we got along so well. But it was just like, wait, that's carried away. So I even did that with the person I'm with now, who I don't want to be with anymore. I was very convinced that this person is my twin flame, and even though I missed all the red flags and I ignored them, so it got even weird where like I started to kind of obsessively think that is it them, is it this person, is that person? So I mean, they kind of make you question who it is. And like Brianne Price, like her twin flame was some older woman at a job, and then she had a lesbian partner at a house, and then she got rid of all of them, and then now she's with a transgender woman trying to be a man, I believe. And it's just like, wait, you like went through like three people, or two people to get to your twin flame. It's like I thought you already knew who it was, so it's very confusing to me. So.
Talk us through the situation with Chad. Who is Chad? You sent him money, he came to stay. Is this somebody you thought could have been your twin flame?
Not at all. It was just a very angry kid who I get this a lot where like I'm kind of tall, so I get a lot of shorter, very wounded males gravitate towards me because I'm very nice. I'm kind of motherly. So he nagged me for money, and then he eventually said that his dad gave him money, so I think it confused me with his parents. And then he wanted to travel to visit some of the girls in the group. So it was me, it was this other girl down south in Louisiana. What his goal was, he was visiting all of us, and then he was going to go show up where he thought his twin flame was and try to marry her.
Oh gosh,
And
stop. Oh, that makes my butt
yeah,
cheeks clench.
uh, so so he stayed the night at my place, and nothing happened or anything like that. It was just, but then the group told me that I'm supposed to have him stay over, but Brianne Price didn't like him. She blocked him. He would rage online, and my issue is a male will rage. I make a beeline for them. So I have this issue of like raging males. I think I could fix them. So that's what happened. And he would rage at me a lot in videos and stuff. And then I'm like letting him come to my house. I should have said no, but I didn't. And so I think we did a tarot card reading in the group, and a bunch of people like watched it, and he kept wanting a hug from me, and then I gave him food, and then he said he was going to sleep in his car, and then he was like, no, you can sleep I have a mat on the floor, you can sleep over there. And then he brought all the stuffed animals in and everything. And then I gave him $500 originally off of a credit card, which I shouldn't have done because I was kind of struggling financially. But it was like, it's whatever. It's just, this is a great group, great people. I need to spend all this money and give it away. And so he stayed over, and then his next stop was he went to Louisiana or Missouri. I don't know if he met anyone else on the way before that, but he met Angela, and she's actually, I'm not going to give out her full name because she does have some fame, so, and she doesn't want her career ruined, so I'm not going to go too much into detail about her, but she was previously like a beauty queen or something like that. And so I think he visited her, and then I think his twin flame supposedly was down there, and I think she worked at a daycare or something. He was trying to show up where she was, and I don't know if she was even there. But then he just kind of disappeared, and he like changed. Well, originally he changed his name in the forum to something else, and then he like disappeared. He actually, I think he has a YouTube channel where he would try to sell the book for Jeff and Shalia. And then the other thing was, I think he sent a birthday card to Shalia, and she appreciated it. So, trying to get on their good side and send him gifts, and so I thought that was very odd. And I think it was like her birthday, and then he had like pictures of planets on it, and it got weird. So
That is the end of part 2 of this mini-series on the twin flames. To find out more about International Cult Awareness Month, you can follow the links in the episode description, or to get in touch with me, you can find me at cultvaultpod.com, or follow me on Twitter and Instagram at cultvaultpod. I'm your speaker Casey, host of the Cult Vault podcast.